You're gonna click record. What's good, everyone? So we're back with another review. We are here with episode 6 of House of the Dragon, and of course, we got a whole panel here. We're excited to talk about it. A lot of stuff happened in this episode. I mean, last episode was pretty cool. Episode 4 again steals the show for me, but episode 6, man, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty good, and I feel like one of the most interesting things for me is the bastards, I love, who doesn't love a good old bastard, so it's like to be able to see all of this craziness, it's pretty awesome. But everybody, I want you to introduce yourself. You guys know the drill. Go nuts.
Hi, it's me. Anyway, so I want to talk about this episode was like a 17-layered cake, right? Like there's so much happening. We had girl, do. Sorry, I'm very excited about that. I was very excited to see Rhaenyra actually get some affection. That was like, I don't know what Mysaria, right? Mysaria. I don't know what her true intentions are, because she's kind of always been playing whatever side. But I hope it's not like she's not trying to manipulate her here. But I really enjoyed the whole thing. But as a comrade, as someone who tends to be a little bit more left leaning, I loved the people. I loved the power of the people. I loved Rhaenyra and her team sending boats with the food after the people are already pissed off because they saw all those sheep going to the dragons. They're like, the dragons are eating better than us. They can get beheaded though. So what the hell? They're just like us. They're not gods. And like, it was beautifully, masterfully manipulated. Like even Aemond's like mommy dearest lady spreading with rumors that Aemond's throwing like parties, which is, I was like, is she lying? Because Aemond does not throw parties. Aemond is not a party boy. This episode was so much fun. And the fact that we saw Viserys again, there was so much shit. Sorry. This was such a good episode. This season's so good. Yeah.
I agree. I didn't even notice that was his, that was the girl that he usually sees in the I don't know what to call him, whorehouses,
mistress?
I guess. Yeah, his mistress. Yeah, the brothel. That's what they call him. No, I thought that was so genius. All of that was really great, and it's like whether or not Rhaenyra only did it to win over the people's favor, it is objectively a good thing, and there's absolutely nothing that could there was just no downside to her doing something like that. I love Mysaria. I think she genuinely does care for Rhaenyra and loves that, like she said, Rhaenyra treats her as an equal. And, if there's going to be anybody to rule, she'd rather it be her. It was beautiful to see the romance blossom between them as well. I'm very excited to see more of that.
Yes.
Yes, I approve this episode.
And this message.
Black men getting dragons, black women getting dragons, not dying. Yes. Born America.
And how'd you feel about that, Mike? Because I know one thing that you've been really excited for is to see like just some badass dragon riders, and maybe you'll be getting that soon.
Yeah. So as a avid book reader, but not a full-on loyalist, I'm open to change and stuff. I really want to see when they're going to get to this point in the story where now, as Rhaenyra's forces are dwindling, in terms of her ace in the holds and her heavy hitters are now are long gone now at this point. Rest in peace. But at this point, we have to think strategically, and I feel like this whole episode really was more. Even though we had a battle episode previously, this was more episode about strategy. Even though there really was no swords and stuff being thrown as much, it was more about the politics and seeing those words being put into action, in terms of the meetings they're having, and also making very ballsy move, especially trying to, go in to see, hey, we need more dragon riders. We have these dragons, but nobody to claim them. And that was a very interesting part in the story in the story of House of Dragons that I was looking forward to, but I actually want to see how they're actually going to go, expand upon that as we get more, right? But yeah, I really think this is definitely setting the seeds for the last, no pun intended, the last 3 episodes of the show. So I'm looking forward to this, or 2 episodes, I think, the 6. So,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's an 8-episode season. Yeah.
Really? It's only 8.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I shortened it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised of the scene with the Foot
I
King,
know, right?
or whatever his name is, Lars Strong, with Aemond, where he's telling him about basically telling him don't give up. That even now that you're scarred, that they're gonna undermine you and that'll beat your strength. I really dug that scene. I didn't expect him to get emotional, and much like not the same but different of Miseria and Rhaenyra, where I'm like, is this genuine or is this just a chess move, playing the long game again? And
well, I mean, a little truth helps those manipulations go a lot farther. You know, like
fair,
it
yeah.
could be, you know, it could be a truthful. He was bullied or whatever, but he's still playing his own game. If that guy made him hand, he wouldn't have cared. He wouldn't have cared about him.
Yeah.
Oh, don't interrupt your flow. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I think that's one thing that I take away from this episode is just the moments with these characters and how, okay, cool, dragon, we gotta get the dragon one up, but it's just like these come off simple but very pivotal moments between these characters and how relations are changing and how you see regret, hope, future, and dread, all of the above written on them. Yeah.
Anybody else want to have quick thoughts while we're starting it off?
Yeah. I really liked the episode. I loved how they just straight up jumped into what they left the last episode off with and how horribly it failed. I thought it was really funny because it was just kind of like come to Jesus moment. Like, all right, back to the drawing board. That did not go the way that we thought it would. I really do love how it felt. It felt very different, especially the scene with Sea Smoke. I made a joke about the horror movie log. I loved how that scene played out, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it the next episode. I also agree. I really liked seeing Rhaenyra get the affection she deserved, and I'm also really intrigued with what's going to go down at Harrenhal with Daemon, because he is going through it.
There was one other thing that I'll just bring it up now because since we're also kind of on Daemon and Harrenhal. Alice Rivers, we saw her again. And they were having this conversation, and at the end of this conversation, this owl landed on her arm. And I don't know if y'all remember, but when Daemon met Alice Rivers, he was like, "What? Like, you're a strange kind of woman." She said, "I'm not a woman. I'm a barn owl."
Oh yeah.
And like, I just thought it was so peculiar that she used the words barn owl to describe herself. So I was like, and she is a witch, so I'm assuming that's like her familiar, and maybe she can, I don't know, maybe she kind of has like a similar, like she's a ward like Bran was, and like some of the Starks are. Maybe she works into the owl sometimes.
She said something on the lines of like, I'm a barn owl cursed in this form or
in
something
this
like
form.
that.
Yeah, cursed
so
to
I don't
live
like
in this form.
Yeah. So like now that we're going back to that, that's I didn't even think about that. When I saw the owl, my first thought was, hey, look, it's Morai. You know, I'm thinking Star Wars. I'm not really thinking of like
Odin,
like the lore or anything, you know. So
like Lady Hawk. What? Nobody saw that movie? Is this an old thing? Sorry.
80s. I know. No, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I'm not up there yet.
I didn't see it in Blockbuster. I didn't.
No.
Okay.
Ant went old school.
Just gonna go up.
But for sure, the lore, like kind of like, or the little things like that are extremely interesting to me. I didn't even put two and two together, but with the whole Harrenhal storyline with Daemon, I'm kind of so with it, like feeling like it's a little milked. But at the end of the day, when they drop stuff like that, it gets me really excited to see some type of big reveal. Yeah, we get moments like that. Hey, cool lore, and then we get moments. You're my favorite son, so it's like I'm so and so with this little arc. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about that, because I don't know. I feel like this is really a hit or miss, depending on how you like his character, because it is building him up for sure.
I do have one thought on it, and you know, to what you were saying about how it, you know, it's a little bit dragged on. I agree. Maybe it's because people do like Daemon, and they want his even though he's not actually changing at all as a character, they want like his betrayal of, potential betrayal of Rhaenyra to come off as earned, because with the way that Game of Thrones ended, people did not see Daenerys's twist as earned.
That's a
So
good
maybe
point.
they're just
Not at
milking
all.
it a little bit extra hard. I don't know.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, but there's a couple of those scenes that I liked, like with Viserys. He walked into the throne room, and I forgot that he like had those visions for a second. So I was like, "What is happening?" And then he's like, Did you say air for a day?" It was like, "Oh shit!" And Daemon said, "I thought that was like that you had gotten over that." And of course, like Viserys is dead, so it's Daemon who himself has not gotten over that shit. So I think a little bit of his conscience is like wrestling with him.
Yeah. I really think honestly that this episode foundationally for Daemon, it showed that he's going through these levels of guilt that I think that he's actually changing. Now, I don't know what his motivations are going to be. I think his ambitions are going to be the same, but I think that he's finally getting all those walls knocked down and he's having to deal with his actions and what the cause and effect has been for his family. Because in this episode, like there was no sex scene. It was really him tortured. Like he was literally brought to tears with his brother. Like at this point now, it's more so like all the different levels of his subconscious are dealing with his actions. And it got him to the point where he was out in the yard with her. He asked her for help. And he doesn't do that. He's never done that. That's how deflated and that's how like exhausted emotionally he actually is. I think by the end of this, I'm just curious to see what kind of man he's gonna become. Because the parallel to that with Aemond, he's got almost all this leverage that he's got his foot on everybody's neck that they can't do anything about. He's even gotten resorted to bringing back the other original hand, like his grandfather. So I think it's a very interesting parallel to see what these men are going to be by the end of the season. But I do think that Daemon, for better or for worse, is changing into something. I think his conclusion is going to be ultimately for Rhaenyra. I'm just not sure how he's going to take when he gets back home. That's going to be interesting. But I mean, for me, this episode, I think it's just a lot of build up and tension. The whole entire episode, I love the level of tension that we had to deal with. And I think it started with like this scene right here. Like this scene right here.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the flip was gonna happen. And it was terrifying because I was like, this poor woman, she keeps going out. Every time she goes out, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I really just didn't know what was gonna happen. In those moments of tension building, even with the dragon rider, we were like, oh, this dude's a red shark. He about to get it. Ate up. But then it started looking like, oh, it might work out. And so I love the tension building in this, even though a lot of physical things didn't happen. I think this is one of the best episodes of the season for me, without saying too much.
No, I agree. I would say I agree. I think Sam's point, like I think Ronin mentioned earlier, the last couple episodes have been like high energy, like fighting stuff like that. This was like more tension building, and there were so many moments where I was like, what is gonna happen? What's gonna happen? But every time we get to a Daemon scene at Harrenhal, like just
for real.
And I'm like, God, it just slows the momentum. I get what they're doing. I get it. But I feel like we wouldn't have nearly as many scenes with Daemon at Harrenhal like this if he wasn't played by Matt Smith. Like if he was just some regular C-list actor this was his big break. I don't think we'd be getting this one. I feel like they're putting him on screen a lot for a pretty like I think Rhaenyra's. And there's other storylines that feel like they need a little bit more like love. I feel like he's getting so much screen time for something that is like, it's kind of the same. It's his guilt eating at him. We get it. And I feel like his conversations with Alice Rivers is great. I feel like more of that's like, sure, that's great. It moves the plot along, but I feel like we're focusing a lot on his guilt constantly, which is cool. We bring back the old characters or the dead characters and characters that have grown up. But I hope we are moving past it soon because we are 2 more episodes left. Like it just keeps. I felt like the episode was boom, boom, boom.
I agree.
And I feel like what they do usually, like a lot of shows do, is when they either give a character like this much screen time, they're either planning on putting them in front of everything and kind of giving them a bigger role, or they're planning on giving them some type of ending. You know, I don't know what their route is, but I really hope they're building up to something really interesting because, like I said, as fun as this is, I'm not really sold on the storyline. It's not my favorite thing. At the end of the day, it's not insufferable. I am still watching it, but you know, I am interested to see where it goes. Ant, you were saying something. What's up?
Oh, I was saying that. Well, two things. You ever see that we would have one sibling that can be the responsible one, and the other one can be the fuck up because they know they have the responsible sibling. And I think that Daemon, while he says his ambition was always for the throne, he loved being the prince. You know what I mean? And he had Viserys there to be the straight man and to protect and to be the person he's vulnerable to. And I think that he's realizing that once you became the leader, once you're ranting about I am a king, and we all know that line from the original Game of Thrones, any man that says I am king is no true king type of thing. But something that was going through my mind when we were watching the episode was I've never watched Scandal, but I've seen all Papa Pope's scenes, and it's like, you are a boy. Your dad is rich and your mama's pretty, and living is easy. And I felt like Damon's been a boy. He's been a boy this whole time, and he hasn't had to be a man. He's been able to do his whole thing, have his tantrums, do what he wants without any real responsibility or real consequences. And now he has to really face what he's done to his family. He has to really face that he did betray his brother. And I think that's one of those things where when he said, you can't still be mad about that, because he's done so many things without consequences. He was almost always testing his brother's love, and now he doesn't have that anymore. And he's used Rhaenyra as a substitute almost, right? So he can throw his tantrums with her. So yeah, I think in him it was a real. While he's still a self-centered person, him requesting what did he say? No, he didn't say help. He said something else.
Counsel
was a big character moment for him because it wasn't all about him. If that makes sense, like it was outside of him. So I've enjoyed this because, like I said, because of seeing the old, like I love seeing the characters from season one and help build the foundation of this come back. You know what I mean? I think those actors put in a lot of good work, and they deserve to have this. So I don't know, that might be outside of story reasons, but I've enjoyed those interactions. And the other thing I talked about was the two queens, and that was a scary scene because we know what happened when we saw that riot in King's Landing from Game of Thrones, and we knew what was going to happen if that crowd beat those few guards that was there and got a hold of them. Like we knew it was not going to be good, and so it was a lot of good tension, and like it was. I feel like we were fed every scene. I never, some scenes, some episodes get over and you're like, oh man, like there was some more, but we ate well. So I don't know. That was my thoughts on it.
And somebody catched the slicing of the wrist that echoed what Rhaenyra.
I did. That was me.
Confirmed.
That was me.
Her getting sliced the same way that she sliced Rhaenyra was a cool echo of like when tension is rising and how at that time it was the kids of who picked whose eye and what's the repercussions. Is this one? I was like, okay, you guys are in charge now. Look what happens when you're failing the city, and the city has had enough of it, and is seeing a way out, seeing another way, and just closing it tight in one eye. And I just felt bad for the daughter, like how much like she had. Nothing.
Oh yeah,
she's been put on the bus, put on the pedestal as a political thing, and like she had nothing to do with all this stuff, and yet she's gonna get the shit end of it if they lose or if they go through that again.
You have failed this city.
I like when I saw that, it was just how the camera was shot when she got into the carriage and everything, and then saw, okay, was that blood from the hand that got cut that was trying to grab her? And I'm like, no, that's a slash. And I'm like, and it just directs like, wait, that was the same part where they were holding the Valyrian dagger, same spot. It was the same spot. And I think that these last two episodes, Rhaenyra, left hand. There we go. It's like Alicent has basically been put in the shoes now, literally in the same way that Rhaenyra has been going through in the previous season. And I feel like this is now where, the fact that her power was stripped away from her, but also because she's a woman, also to the point where now it's like outside of her control. But then she still also have at least some type of care or duty to her family because she also cared about her daughter deeply. But with this is that when you're seeing how that mob was coming again, I knew at least it was leading to something. I didn't know they were actually gonna pay off, something that I know is gonna happen in the books. But I really agreed with how this show was trying to show how Westeros was kind of, or King's Landing was kind of like deteriorating within itself, if that makes sense. And in the way that to point to his last, what like when is that line is crossed where the people are going to turn against the crown? And even then, at this point, when we turn against the crown, where's the crown, whatever, if Rhaenyra, takes over King's Landing and stuff, would that even change how the people is? Because well, screw y'all, and how so it's like there could be almost anarchy at that point. So yeah, I just feel like in this episode showing that how they're showing that just turn the parallel of Alicent now literally being in her shoes and having the same wounds, and just in different parts of her family and her own self. But I just thought that was very interesting. But I just caught that.
One of the things I really liked about the King's Landing scene was it just kind of showed the dichotomy and difference between these super rich people that just want more power and these poor people that just want some cabbage, right? And I think it's really I really like the way this episode flowed. So first that part, I really enjoyed how they were showing the common people and they were just like, look, I don't care who has a crown right now. I'm pulling for whoever can get me and my family food, right? Because you got Aemond and his dragon. You got Aegon and he's cooling off. You got Rhaenyra and all of them in Dragonstone. And it's all about power. It's all about I'm the rightful heir. And then on the other side of that, they're showing who's actually suffering because of all this. Like, yes, we have people dying on the battlefield, but also we just have commoners here in King's Landing that are suffering because of all this going on. And so I really like the way that they showed that. And I didn't touch on the Daemon thing. I also like what they're doing with him, just because I felt like in Game of Thrones, one of the things that made the show suffer near the end was everything felt rushed. And I do like that they're kind of slowing things down. And I do like that I'm really wondering what's happening with him. I personally think that what they're doing is they're having him work through all this guilt to get to the point where he doesn't necessarily want the throne anymore. I think that's what they're heading towards. But then, yeah, backtracking to King's Landing, I think it was a brilliant move getting food to them, just because it's gonna, now they're just like, look, whoever can feed me, that's whose team I'm on, which is reality for all of us, right? Like, look, I'll work for whoever can pay me the most. Just help us, right? And so I really did like that King's Landing scene. I love that it got out of hand because that's reality. When people hungry, when people get hangry, you never know what's gonna happen. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Rome is the mob, as they used to say.
Yeah.
Okay, no one's getting any of my references. I'm good.
Our apologies, Unc.
So, real quick, are we going to talk about Aegon and that whole interaction with what his brother did and how that man came up in direct pain, and they were like, I don't know if he's going to make it. And his brother was like, oh, bet. I'm going to take this ball and press it up against his burning flesh. And like, yeah, you take care of yourself, brother. Like, I'm right here. And like, it was such a jacked up situation. But to y'all's point, like, what's his name? What's the guy that's the feet guy? What's his name?
Larys.
Larys.
Yeah, Clubfoot.
Larys Strong.
Laris made a very interesting power play and talked to him and told him he was really vulnerable. I think he was being legit vulnerable. It was to a point, but it made him understand like this isn't the end. There's a way around this. And I don't know. I wanted y'all's perspective on that whole situation because I felt so bad for him. Even though he's a terrible individual, like what's going on now is just messed up. But now I don't know what this looks like moving forward.
He's been one of my favorite characters this whole season.
Aegon?
Yeah, he's been super interesting, and I love what they're doing with him because it's basically bringing it around. It's like, okay, look, you don't have to have the biggest dragon, you don't have to know the most people. You can still win this, and I love that Laris came in, and I know he has his own little motive there, because he's been zigzagging all over the place and switching sides. And so yeah, I loved that Aegon still has a purpose, even though he's laid up and out of commission right now. It's like there's still a plan for him. And I know that Aemond was sweating bullets until he was like, oh, I don't remember anything. It's like, oh, well, great. I'm here for you, bro. You take care.
Yeah.
Wait, but no, I took that as him basically like, I'm not gonna say anything. I didn't look at it like he didn't actually remember. I think he was like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I know I'm gonna die up in here. That's the way that I took it. I don't know if
I didn't take it. I thought he didn't remember anything.
I took it as a threat.
No, he remembered. That was fear. That was intimidation. That's what the whole ball was for.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of similar to what he did
now I can't wait to rewatch.
To what he did to Alicent, which is another fascinating scene where, like, it felt like, Fredo, you're my older brother and I love you, but don't ever take sides with the family ever again. But if it went further, like you're fired.
I don't know that reference.
I know
back in my day.
Petty. That was petty.
Don't be petty.
It's muy called El Padrino.
No, I think Aemond was. I have to give a special shout out to you and Mitchell. You know that's my baby. Aemond is killing it this whole episode. He was the way that the camera loves that man. Those shadows, the way the shadows are him on his
profile
side, where it literally looked like his whole half of his face disappeared. Ooh, money. His conversation with his mom. Can you imagine firing your mom? This is years of pent up, like being pushed aside, being like, you're not the heir, you're the second son, like all of that built up, and he's just wielding his power like a massive dick. Just fuck you guys. Literally just intimidating his brother in bed. Like this dude he's so sinister. He's so you and Mitchell, your mind.
I love it.
I think Aemond might be my favorite character this season. Probably my favorite.
I can see
that.
That.
Like you said, he fired his mom from council, and she was like, "You for all the shit that happened to you as a child." Like, I just really feel like they could all benefit from some talk therapy.
And he's trying to get his grandpa back on his right hand. Like it's like again, fucked up family.
Yeah, no, it's just, and I love it. I love how fucked up it is. I love, Aemond like pressing into Aegon's chest. I love him firing his mom. I love Alicent feeling shame for being a bad mother because she was a dick to Rhaenyra. Honestly, I have beef with her. She was a dick to Rhaenyra. She was all like, "I'm gonna tell on you for being a hoe," just because she wanted to like follow all the rules, and she was fine with submitting to like the patriarchy, and Rhaenyra wasn't. She had to put her down because Rhaenyra was trying to
independent,
enact agency that is not really allowed for them. And that right there, that was the culmination of all of that anger. She's like, this bitch cannot keep getting away with shit. And it's like, Alicent, just because you don't have the balls that Rhaenyra does, doesn't mean you gotta have all the smoke for her. So
yes,
the candle scene.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
There was no mistake. There was no, and it's just like, dude. And then her convo with her brother. Of like, how's the other kid? It's just like,
Yeah, he about to die. But
I'm worried about him. I like him now, so I'm worried about him. And it's this season. I was like last season Team Black all the way, but this season has done a really good job of making me sympathetic for certain Team Green when I had zero last season. So yeah,
he's the one good high.
And what was that velvet? That armor looked nice.
Oh, with the horse and all that.
Yeah, it really felt like the budget went up like halfway through.
Like he was looking like a Soul Calibur character.
Right.
Yes.
He was clean, boy.
What's his name? Anybody remember his name?
Clean.
No.
Gavin.
El Cuñado.
High Tower the Riz.
Alicent's had some bars these last couple episodes though. Like when she was like, haven't you revisited all your slights from your youth yet? And that was great.
Gwaine? Is Gwaine in front of it?
And he also seems like the smartest person in the room. Like every conversation he has, he like knows this is stupid. I appreciate him. He's gonna have a horrible death, but I appreciate him. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
to be fair, all of them will.
That's true. That's true.
Just go ahead, Sam.
Wait, what? Oh, that threw me off.
Sorry.
Bullying the ball guys. Sorry.
Man, that threw me all the way off. All I was gonna say is just interesting that she finally gets a little level of empathy and connection from a family member. And the fact that she gets it from him is just so, I think, important for her right now because she's so vulnerable. And the show, I mean, they could have just dumped it down like, oh, no, don't give her any kind of resolve. But they never make it be black or white. It's always levels of gray. And the fact that, we know who her dad is. But we didn't really know who her brother was. And I love how they're using him in this place of light in the midst of so much darkness. Now, the man's going to get killed, but at least she had that moment with him. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's pretty dope.
It's fascinating because Damien is getting his very morbid therapy session in the haunted house. And then Alicent going through this stuff. And you see Rhaenyra trying to find a dragon rider. And nobody is coming in the clutch. But then she finds comfort at the end with Daemon's old flame. It's fascinating how each side we kept hanging on with.
Mm-hmm.
Roller coaster, just like sympathy, regret, what could have been, what now.
Darren, her son, Alicent's son, we actually learned a little bit more about him and the fact that
he's nice. Oh,
after forgetting he existed.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, me too.
I
I've had those
about
conversations with mom. They're looking for you to validate that they didn't completely fuck up. And whoever wrote that conversation knew what they were doing. They experienced it because she was searching for any out that I fucked up as a mom, and her brother loves her, and that's what he kind of gave it to her. You know what I mean?
Tried your best.
Yeah. And he's like, look at our family, and he was like, and you're the favorite. Like, you're the favorite.
Yeah, that had to hurt. That had to hurt her when it was like the one kid that you like sent away. He's the best one. That's gotta be
facts.
That's gotta be rough.
And what's sad is you can see that each of them had the potential to be a better person. Like we know Aemond's a piece of shit, but like when he was when he was trying to deal with the quote unquote small folks, he was trying to be a fair king, and the system wouldn't let him. You know what I mean? Like where would it have been if they'd actually been a family instead of competition since birth? You know what I mean? Even with their cousins. So it's almost like Succession. You didn't really have a chance. Like you weren't going to be normal.
Legit. Alicent grew up under like her dad's oppressive political ambition, and that's exactly what she passed on to her kids.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's all it is.
I think that's a really good segue to the Dragon Rider situation. Listen to the sons, because I first off, the way that they handled the whole Dragon Rider situation, we were like, oh snap, they're gonna bring somebody in. And this man came up there. He was like, what do you need me to do, my queen? And we looked at him, we all collectively looked at this man. It's like, I don't think that's good. I think
you ain't built like that.
It was like, he got a red shirt on, guys. And I was like, yeah, he's not gonna make it. But the way that they handled it was just done so well because it built so much tension. But for you guys, I guess that are book readers, you guys know what it meant. Now I'm watching and I was like, well, how are they going to transition to these brothers? I know why these brothers are important, but how is it going to get there? And I don't know. How do you guys think that they wrote that in such a short amount of time? And it was just a seamless transition to this man right here getting the dragons. I don't know. What was y'all thoughts on
that? I think, like, honestly, like, it was the fact of the groundwork they have to establish with other characters that haven't even got introduced yet, which is why, like, I'm happy with the pace, because again, people are complaining like, well, how far are we gonna go with this? And some things getting slowed and other things feel rushed. I feel this has been a good balance. It's like we spent the time we need with these two bastards, and the fact that now that we're getting put them to the point where now it's like, hey, they actually got a role to play in this. The seeds were planted, now let them flourish. So yeah, me personally, I think that I liked how the way they were introduced and setting the groundwork for that. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
What I really liked about that at first was I didn't realize, and I don't know if we knew that they were his bastards, but this episode solidified that like they've been new. Like Alan was, shaving his white hair, which Adam didn't get. Adam is fine, by the way. I just have to say. And I loved the scene where Sea Smoke chased him down. Just to bend his neck. That was so good. I loved it. It was. I really like these two. So yeah. I won't spoil where it goes for these.
I like how Sea Smoke was like, no, y'all not choosing my right. I'll be back.
Yeah. They need
Let me go find
non-seasoned offerings.
Hey, Mike, still.
Burn ass boy. Like, and then what's really great about the writing
City
is
Boys
we haven't gotten much with these two brothers. I didn't even know the other one was his brother. But good writing. I feel like I know so much about them already, just by their interactions, just by how they love each other. But you could tell, but they kind of went, their insecurities kind of showed. Like, I love that. And we've gotten maybe 5 scenes with them, with him, so.
Yeah, we speaking like the Dragon Riders. There was so much shit that got revealed this episode. The fucking loose rogue dragon that Bela discovers in the Vale.
Yeah. With the little kid. Yeah.
So we have a loose dragon that I assume is going to eventually become hers. I don't know. There's that. So that's multiple. To Mike's point, multiple Black Hopes getting dragons. Hopefully, I hope that he didn't eat the other dude, because I don't know if I don't know if they were full-blooded brothers, but it would be cool if there were 2. So that's like multiple Dragon Riders. But we still have Hugh Hammer. And then the other guy, not the white-haired long guy without the beard. I don't remember his name. So
he's the best. He's the brother to Daemon and Viserys.
Yes, he's the uncle. He's the uncle. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. They showed all of these potential Dragon Riders this episode while they barbecued, not like a whatever guy. So they're setting all these up. So I'm assuming all these people are gonna eventually get on a dragon at some point.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is I feel like Rhaenyra was really concentrating on, they have to be a lord or someone important. It's like, nah, they just need to be at least 50%. Like, and it doesn't matter where they come from. Anybody can have a dragon if it's in your heart. I do. No, I love what they did with that. It was because it was so suspenseful, and I'm excited for the next episode so they can like make it official, because I don't know if they ever actually showed him on the dragon. I think we know, but it was one of those, like, I just love that scene where he just comes up on him and he's like, oh, is it cool? Is it cool? We good? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was scared for my man, especially when that log came out of nowhere and tripped him like that.
Yes.
Oh man, it's just interesting with their brothers because their dad is now the hand. They have a brother that we haven't seen in a while that he's off somewhere. So it's like it's gonna be interesting to see where we go into another season. I'm just really excited to see where their characters go. But yeah, I genuinely think that this is a very exciting push to where we're going towards the next season more than anything. Established in this episode more than anything. There's so many different like loose threads that we were kind of seeing like where everybody's position is going to be. Even like if you take Daemon, like Daemon asking her for help, and she's like, she does some undermining stuff and kills. Who she kill? She killed somebody.
Oh, the old Tully, the old Tully. So
the Tully that was bedridden. That was
holding to put a pillow on his face, and the kid was like, "What? Oh my god!"
And we don't.
He's barely dead, so they just
Like I love my pop up. I love my pop up. You would do that.
Small little threads that are kind of maneuvering stuff around. But I mean, I think the biggest power play, and I mean, you guys talked about it, is Rhaenyra giving the food to them. Like the way that they even shot that was
beautiful.
Dope. Because the guy was looking like, because if I was him in that situation, I would have hit that joint. I wouldn't have said nothing to a soul because you don't know if that's gonna be like, oh man, he's a traitor. Like he gonna get hung just like the rat catchers. So
my family ate good though. My family had the whole boat.
To the left, we saw all these boats. I was like, oh, this is it. That you can't kill everybody for wanting to eat. Like this is the perfect power move, and I felt good for Rhaenyra making that move, and it's just interesting because the segue to me was like talking about where Rhaenyra ends in this episode. Not only getting levels of affection, but now she knows that there's another dragon rat. She's gonna go and take it out herself because I think that the girl even said like it's a good look at you with this sword in your hand, and I don't know, it's just certain like builds that are happening.
Well,
she meant a couple different things.
It's a two-part. Sam, it's a two-part. It's a two-parter too.
50 Shades of Targaryen.
It's a two-parter too because what's interesting about that is it's awesome because they're seeing that she's giving them food, but also there's chaos in the streets for everybody rushing for it. So she's making it bad for the Greens on two different ends because it's people fighting for cabbages and potatoes out there, and no one's blaming Rhaenyra for it because she's like, I'm just the Walmart truck.
Three different times. She's the one who's causing the blockade. She's the one who's causing the blockade.
So I was gonna say that, and isn't that real politics? Like,
yes,
the person
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
But we solved it. Hey, that last minute, but you caused it. Man, shut up. Here's food.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
It was good writing. It was such good writing.
It's them delivering a blow without having fired anything or releasing a dragon.
Yes.
Like it's the very art of war. Every battle is won before it's fought. It's a very like Shogun thing where like I did a 2 steps ahead before I even landed in that place, and like I'm not even gonna fight you head on. I'm gonna let the rain crumble, and then at the right moment, I'm just gonna just snatch it, and you won't even see it coming.
Yeah, 48 laws of power.
Game of Thrones references while watching Shogun and vice versa, because the two shows are smart political shows, like really smart political shows. Yeah. All right, are we doing last thoughts soon?
That was
damn. Is that my cue?
Ladies, take it away.
Oh yeah, they were sniffing, bro. They loved it. I don't know what it was. They were
Sir,
wild.
Sir.
And I thought it was beautiful.
Get your nose away from that microphone.
I thought it was good.
So she like 2 for 2, honestly.
I was like, damn. I like the scene where I caught the vibes, especially when she complimented her sword. I was like, oh.
You like my sword?
She's got it. She is
strapped up.
She like it was gorgeous. I love that they took time to build their relationship. So it wasn't just like, out of nowhere, just for like titillation, like, ooh, girl on girl. I love that there was like genuine emotions and the fact that they confide each other. She tried to save her life. Like it's brilliant. Like and then just very good vibes. Nice to see hot people make out. So yeah, I'm
and excited. It started with like good, like I don't think there was any like you owe me one or anything like that. It's just like, all right, you had a prior deal. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna hold you here. Go do your thing. And the fact that what's her name, Sarah, like stayed and was like, I see the potential here. No pun intended. But like seeing like, all right, I think this is I should be here for the time being and see where it goes. And call me romantic, but like I hope this is not BS. I hope there's more. I hope it's not just a power play. I hope there's
I agree.
like some decency. And for those of you who are watching this in the future, I can't imagine the fan art is going to blow up when this episode hits.
Yes, I'm so. Yes, I think the was it Alan? I don't know what their shippers are called, but they're going to be very excited to have at least some confirmation that Rhaenyra is queer. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think that was everything, right?
Yeah.
Bizzy, your final thoughts.
I mean, I know Vanessa was mentioning this earlier about how this episode was a little more of, it was dialogue heavy. It was pushing the story forward, and I feel like the same goes with the last episode. But I think this one was just far superior. The intensity I felt, just everything about this episode. I mean, I feel like this is just one of those shows where the dialogue is just as important or as gets you as involved as the action does, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm like spitting out right now, but like I don't know what it is, but it's just I love it, man. I love it. I really do.
It might be hard to find a favorite episode by the time this season concludes, because much like season 1, I was again newcomer, didn't really see Game of Thrones, and I was like, I'm hooked, I'm in. And as far as I know, I have not been bored. Some stuff has got me more emotional. Some stuff I've been like appalled by, and some stuff I'm like, I want to see where that goes forward.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this episode was I think it's my second favorite episode of the season, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing how they close out season 2.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. Shared most of my thoughts already. Loved the sending food to King's Landing, Mysaria, the Velaryon brothers, the bastards, I mean. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to see their involvement, probably the most in upcoming seasons, and also, the new dragons. We saw a little baby dragon playing with the kids, and yeah, that was cute. So I wonder how many of them are gonna hatch and how fast they're gonna grow.
What's your rating on this episode?
A. Pretty good episode. I liked it a lot.
Bizzy, what was your rating on that
A-.
episode? Always. Never A. Ronin, what's your collective thoughts and rating on this episode?
I was so engaged with the different convos that were occurring, and it's a good show when you don't know if this is just full on manipulation or there's also an emotional side to it. And the next 2 episodes, I can only imagine, are gonna be bonkers. And I give it an A rating as well. Again, there hasn't been a low episode or a bored episode. Rhaenys, I missed her each time I think back on that ending of that episode. And Sonoya Mizuno, who plays Mysaria, shout out to her. She's been I discovered her in Ex Machina, and anytime I've seen her on screen or in a movie or a show, she just crushed it. So kudos to her.
Wait, is that the chick that was dancing with Oscar Isaac?
Yeah,
she was the droid. What?
And she's also the clone to Natalie Portman's character in Annihilation. She's that thing that mimics Natalie Portman's character as well.
Wait, she's the. Okay, we gotta talk after this.
And also Mysaria, like props. You went for it and connected.
Yeah. Keaton, final thoughts and rating.
I give it an A. I love what they did with it. I love the change up where it was like they slowed it down a bit, showed all the political moves, and so yeah, I give it an A. I'm really excited. I'm kind of bummed that it's only 2 episodes left. I thought it was a 10 episode season, but I'm hoping that they aren't rushing things too much with it only being an 8 episode season. So, but yeah, I give it an A.
All right, Ant Gold.
A plus. I think I've enjoyed every episode. This is like one long movie to me that I just have to wait a little longer to see the next chapter. I loved everything about it. I think the dialogue, the characters, everything makes sense. Even the mistakes make sense. Even the things that seem irrational fit for the characters we're watching. And it's just some brilliant writing. This is the feeling we got from seasons like 1 through 4 of Great Game of Thrones, and I love it. I wonder how much they can stretch since they've already done a lot, but I'm here for it. The things they add have even made the story better from what I've known it, the story I've known. So yeah, great, A plus.
Mike,
I will.
See, that's why your computer freezes up.
So I'll have I'll give it a. I'm gonna give this A minus. I'll probably say this is probably my second favorite episode of the season. Because I think I like the seeds that they're planning and everything. And I definitely see that now we're seeing more of the support, the background characters coming into the fold, and now having more pivotal roles and stuff, and slowly paying off things that they're building up to. But I feel like it's not being rushed. In my opinion, I think we're having enough time with these characters. So yeah, I'm along for the ride and everything. And shout out to the show. I'll be back next week. So yeah.
Mike, why does that filter look so real? That was just random. Last but not least, Vanessa, thoughts and rating.
I'm gonna give this an A plus because the amount of suspense that was built every single moment, the running through the streets, the boats coming in, the rogue dragon, the running through the woods. There was a lot of running, people scared. So it was like a horror movie or a suspense thriller. It was good. It was really good. Excellent writing. The small moments between Alicent and Aemond and his brother. Larys. The Larys moment, I didn't think I would feel bad for him, but I kind of did. So I don't know. They're making me feel sympathy for characters I never thought I would. It's such a good show. Yeah, A plus.
Yeah. For me, the fact that it kept building, and then at the end of the episode, this is like an hour and 5 minute long episode. I felt selfish. I was like, I want more. Like, I didn't want the episode to end. And anytime you can have an episode that makes you not want it to end, because even though 2 episodes ago was definitely the best episode of the season, I was like, I need a break from that. This episode ended. I was like, I need more. Keep it going. Keep the momentum going because we're killing it right now. This is the A plus for me all day. But yeah. Everybody, where can everybody find you? Bizzy, first up.
Bizzy Braun everywhere. Bizzy Reactions on Instagram, and find me on TeamJVS making reviews, and on Ronin's channel every now and then.
Yes, sir. Right. Where can everybody find your content?
Twitch link is right below me, and also YouTube only X Anchors Gaming.
Thank you very much, Ronin. Where can everybody find you, sir?
You can find me at Ronin Unchained on YouTube on the socials, and also on TeamJVS. And I'll pop up once in a while on Bizzy's channel during a reaction, and get ready for some coverage in the next week.
Ooh, it's a SDCC. Okay, I got you. Ant Go, where can everybody find your content, man?
Right here on TeamJVS, and anybody else that'll have me. And those are my constant interruptions and outdated references, apparently. I'm going to update some of the movies.
You feeling real insecure right now.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I will never, ever forgive any of y'all for not.
Look, first off, Ant, you got a dope, like, Joker TikTok. You haven't even shouted out your TikTok, man.
Oh, yeah. What is my TikTok name?
It's like user 42789. I felt bad for not following him back, but then I realized it's like user 734.
Yeah, it's
really?
Yeah,
bro,
you haven't made a username officially, but you got some good stuff up there.
All right. Well, I will get to that, and next time I will have a username for my, what was it? TikTok. Yes.
Oh my God.
MySpace.
I am terrible at this. I don't know why this happens every week. My insecurities, they're showing.
Don't feel bad.
Everybody find your content.
You can find me on YouTube and on Instagram at JediMike7. You find me on all the interwebs and everything, on TeamJVS, on Ronin's channel, on Bizzy when doing reactions and stuff. And on next week, my hype. I'm on cloud 9 now. I'm feeling it. I'm ready. I'm ready for next week.
Yeah. Keaton, where can everybody find your content?
As long as people remember to send me invite links to StreamYard, you can find me right here with TeamJVS. You know, just trying to be a part. You know, but also me and my friend Dr. Amelia Brown, we run a podcast focusing on mental health in comic books and film. It's called Bat Therapy. You can find us at bat-therapy.com. You can also just search Bat Therapy anywhere and find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Thank you, Keaton. You're going to be doing the finale, by the way. It is officially done. You're moderating the finale.
I thought I was doing Cobra Kai.
Oh,
wow.
That's the start. Where can everybody find your content?
You can find me at Vanessa Shark on everything, all socials, Multiverse of Color, TeamJVS. I'll be contributing to Black Girl Nerds next week for CinemaCon. Which one is it? Comic-Con. Just keep an eye out. I'll be on the socials for Multiverse of Color. I'll be doing all the cool shit. Yeah, bitch.
I'm gonna cut.
I feel like we're gonna.
That's where you end it. That's where.
Filing out the top of the I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline.